And when it comes to finances, trustees who were here tonight say they recently won a court case getting the clerk's name back on the village bank account. They say it had been improperly removed.
The trustees did win in court. I have the case right here. Let's go over it. So we've been covering Tiffany A. Henyard for a long time, and there have been some recent developments in court that I think you need to be aware of. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tiffany A. Henyard is the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. Now, Dalton is a suburb of Chicago. Now, this woman has essentially become a dictator and taken the town over. Now, to make a long story short, Tiffany A. Henyard is under FBI investigation.
Fox 32 has information indicating the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The state attorney general is investigating her.
WGN Investigates has learned a suburban politician's charity has attracted the attention of the Illinois Attorney General after failing to file financial documents.
We've reported on Tiffany Henyard. She holds two elected positions, Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. She's used those positions to steer money to her own cancer charity. But how that money is being used is anyone's guess.
And many more problems. Now, one of the main problems that's occurring in Dalton is spending. The mayor has put the city in a $7 million budget deficit, which is huge for a place like this because there's only about 20,000 residents of Dalton, Illinois. Now, the mayor has stopped giving any financial data to the village trustees, who are essentially the city council. Now, this lack of financial transparency and no one understanding what's going on with the bank accounts and the finances of Dalton have led the trustees to have to file a lawsuit to get the information, to understand what's going on with the village's finances. So the trustees filed this lawsuit alleging 5 specific things. Now, first, the trustees allege that the mayor has been issuing checks without the required approval from the village board and without the clerk's signature. Now, this is mandated by Illinois Municipal Code and village law. Here's an example.
Just for the record, and the reason I guess I want all of the citizens to know why we're so adamant about this budget and what's going on. May 12, 2021, a resolution was passed. The following persons are hereby authorized to be added as signatories for all city accounts: Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Village Clerk Allison Key. Any prior signatories or individuals authorized and hereby removed from the accounts, prior authorization is revoked. Number of signatures required are a combination of both signatures. After approval of payment by the village board, each check shall be signed by the mayor and the clerk. We have a $500,000 check signed by Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Y'all wonder why we worried about the money? This is why we worried about the money. $561,000 check with one signature on there. It's a problem. That means that money is being spent, and after we don't find out till after the check's been cashed. That's why we up here complaining.
So as you can see from that clip, checks are going out that are not approved properly by the village. The clerk's signature is required on all checks. The trustees are also suing for access to financial records. They say that Mayor Henyard restricted their access to the village financial records and that this is a violation of not only their local law, but of state law. And they also claim they have an earlier court decision that forced the mayor to give them access to financial records. Court documents also allege that the mayor essentially committed fraud, that in 2021 and 2022, the mayor used the stamp of the clerk's signature to issue checks not approved by the village board. Here is Trustee Jason House explaining it.
Anyone else?
Can I be recognized?
Go ahead, Trustee.
Thank you very much. My comment is kind of, I guess, geared more towards some of the comments that were made at the town hall meeting, in particular some of the statements about why the board has taken, or I'll even say for myself, why I may have taken some of the positions that I have in terms of what has been done wrong. Most recently, and I'll just go back to the last 3 months, manual checks are checks that are just written for spontaneous things or things that are emergencies that were unplanned for. In the month of February, there are $125,000 worth of manual checks written. Those should be presented to the board, approved, and issued out. In February, that did not occur. In March, the board did not receive a warrant list. That warrant list was $2.1 million worth of spending. In order to spend money, so in order for the board to approve it, We should have got that, reviewed it, been able to make the proper approvals, and we're not, and that information was not presented for the board to even make that decision. More than that, the process for checks, because this is all set up on checks and balances. In writing the checks for $125,000 worth of checks, as well as $2 million worth of checks, there should be 2 signatures on every check. The authorized signers on our bank account are the mayor and the clerk. For the month of February and March, the clerk's stamp was used without her authorization to sign $2 million worth of bills that were not properly presented to the board. In the month of April, again, the warrant list or the information was not presented to the board. That's $1.8 million worth of spending. Now, I would take from what I've seen that at least using the clerk's stamp without her authority was recognized or changed, because this time the checks were signed only with the mayor's signature on it, without the 2 signatures required for the necessary checks and balances. In total, that's $4 million in the last 3 months spent without the appropriate checks and balances. So that's one, what I would say, glaring. Well, the spending of the money and the use of somebody's signature without their authorization, right? There are 2 main issues that I had a big concern with that were not spoken about, or it says, why are things happening the way they are? I think many people have seen the meeting, so they've seen a lot of the back and forths, and I just want to go over high level because I want to make sure we're talking about big ticket issues, and to me that's significant.
Now, because of those facts, here's what the board was asking the court to do. First, the board asked the court to enjoin the mayor from acting beyond her authority, essentially injunctive relief. Next, the board asked the court to issue a writ of mandamus to the mayor. Now, for those of you who don't know, the writ of mandamus was made famous in a case called Marbury v. Madison, for you law nerds out there. Now, a writ of mandamus is when the court forces a public official to do something that they have no choice but to do. In this case, Tiffany Henyard has no choice but to turn over the financial documents to the trustees. So the trustees want the court to issue that writ so they can have access to the financial documents, essentially forcing Tiffany Henyard, the mayor, to give the documents to them. The trustees are also asking for a declaratory judgment and a full accounting of the village's finances. So then Mayor Tiffany Henyard filed a motion to dismiss, saying that the trustees were not entitled to any of this information. Now, the court sided with the trustees, claiming that the mayor had to give a full accounting to the trustees about the village's finances. Now, when it comes to the writ of mandamus to force the mayor to turn over all the financial documents, the court said, hold on. The mayor's the wrong person. The court said that the village trustees needed to sue the village's treasurer or the business manager, because that's the person who has custody of the documents and whose duty it is to not only hold the documents, but then present the documents to the trustees. Now, since the treasurer was not a party to the lawsuit, the judge said you need to go back and add the treasurer to the lawsuit so I can issue the writ of mandamus so you can get the documents. Here is Trustee Jason House explaining it.
Currently the finance director is the one that's being in charge. The accounting firm reports to the finance director, and the finance director is the gatekeeper of information. So I believe there's a block in that area. And we recently, and when I say recently, this morning won a court case that indicated, one, that the clerk key was wrongfully removed from the bank account and should be reinstated to the bank account. Part 2 of the case indicated that the financial information that we are not being given, the board is entitled to it. They did indicate, even though we're entitled to it, that the lawsuit should have been inclusive of it says treasurer is the actual word, which in this case is our finance director. So I believe with the court order, we may see some movement. I believe the accounting firm at this time, which I do agree, I'm in agreement. I would like for them to provide us with that information. I think it's kind of a tricky scenario, and I believe the information will be forthcoming with the proper order from the court. So that would be my thought or ask of reconsideration.
So as you just heard, the court also ordered that the clerk be put back on all the bank accounts. Now, this will stop Henyard in her tracks, because to now spend any of the village's money, she needs the clerk's signature. So this ruling was extremely positive for the Board of Trustees. They got the clerk back on the bank accounts, they got to stop Tiffany Henyard from spending money willy-nilly, and they get a full accounting of the records to find out what's actually going on. Now, hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll finally have that information and we'll know what is going on behind the scenes. Tiffany Henyard, the walls are closing in. The FBI, the state AG, and now you have this judge saying, hey, you have to turn over everything to the Board of Trustees. It's the law. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. Let me know, how long do you think it's going to take for Tiffany Henyard to finally be caught out there? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.